I'm Holger Krekel. I'm going to talk about Piepie very quickly. Piepie is a novel Python implementation, and it's written in Python itself, almost completely. And the idea is to translate this to low-level languages. First, at the moment we are targeting C, Java, and Lisp, whereas the latter Lisp is obviously not that low level, but anyway. And I figure that many don't really know what Python is about. It's used by some 14% of developers I've read in a recent survey worldwide. And I'm just going to give you a very quick introduction. So you have a Python interactive interpreter, and here I define a function that just returns the value +1. And it's interesting to know that Python has a virtual machine, so that you can actually display at runtime what is going on here when I execute this function. And what happens, these are the opcodes, pretty readable. It loads in a fast array, it loads the variable x that got passed to the function, you see above. Then it adds a constant 1, and it returns the value. Another thing is that if you actually look at, you can access all the internals just from the normal CPython interpreter. And you can see there's a code object, and you can see that's also a module I've written the various parts of the code object. That's something you can also get at in Java, but it's a bit more, you use the reflection API, which is a bit more convoluted to get at. And you see the argument count, and you guess what all these values mean. And you also see that that's also an aspect that many may not know. Python is strongly typed, but it's dynamically typed compared to Java, which is statically typed. So you have to actually declare all the types that you're using all the time. So Piepie is going to re-implement all this in a very high level language, which is Python itself. That's a similar approach to Squeak and Self. Squeak, by the way, is going to have, I heard at 8 o'clock in the evening, a nice talk with a 3D environment, virtual machine. It's a kind of a similar project, and some of the ideas we are reusing in Piepie. So what are we going to do different than CPython? First of all, we have everything in a high-level language, so we actually have a description of the Python interpreter. What we want to do is that we want to have memory models and threading models configurable even at runtime. So we want to have specific engines for gaming engines, for databases, and all this that resolve some of the limitations that CPython at the moment has. Also, what we're going to do is, some of you may know Psycho, which is a specializing just-in-time compiler. It's written in C with some kind of hack of continuations. We want to do that, want to generate from our Python source code a just-in-time compiler that actually specializes. One of the leaders in the research area in our group, he has the goal of actually having a very high-level language being faster than C. We can discuss this maybe in the evening at Squeak, because they share a similar idea. And what we also want to do is we want to have orthogonal persistence. That means objects M-mapped into memory and all kinds of neat tricks in that area, so that all the objects you're handling are automatically persistent in a very performant way. And this is the URL where the project is taking place. And I mentioned in a talk yesterday, it was a 1-hour talk, that we got funding from the EU for 1 year now, 2 years, sorry. Do you have a bit more time?
No, I'm very sorry. This was 1 minute, 1 minute above the time.
Okay.
Thank you very much.